Braydin Good grew up in the town of West Wyalong in New South Wales before moving to Griffith and then to Sydney, where he's been playing regularly, opening for artists such as Christy Lamb and Casey Barnes. He's just released a wonderful new single. It is his second single and it's called Honest, and we're going to talk about it. Hello, Braydin.
Hello, Sophie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. But first, I'm going to ask you about what's on your wall. That looks like Paddy Mills, which means
Yes,
you're a Boomers fan, and
I
Paddy
am
is
a
in the green and
massive,
gold. So,
yeah, yeah, massive Boomers fan. I grew up playing basketball, so that's actually from the Tokyo Olympics when we won bronze, and that's a 1 in 200 signed autograph limited edition piece. So
okay,
pretty special.
that's a serious piece of memorabilia then.
Yeah, yeah, I was pretty
So,
proud when I snagged that up.
at the time we're talking, the Olympics are on. How do you rate the Boomers' chances?
Look, we looked really good against Spain, coming out against one of the best teams in the world to beat them by 12 points. I'll take that. I think we're in medal contention again.
Okay. Is this the only Olympic sport you will watch, or do you have other things?
No, I watch a bit of everything. BMX racing, boxing, basketball, swimming, athletics. If it's on, I'll watch it. Archery, I was watching the archery before.
Okay. That's like you like the Olympics.
I
Yes,
like the Olympics.
that's good. Look, if you like the sport, the Olympics is Clover, every
That's
four
it.
years. Yeah.
Take your pick.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm not going to start the proper chat talking about honest. I'm actually going to take you all the way back to your childhood. And I understand it was your dad who taught you to sing and play guitar. Did you actually want to do that at the time?
Yeah, no, I did. I did. Dad always was playing at local shows and stuff like that. And so I was always there watching him when I could. And it was great. It was always something I always wanted to do. So when he bought me my first guitar, I picked it up, started playing with him. I actually recorded my first song at the age of 3 or 4 years old in his friend's studio. And I don't know where the recording of that is. And I hope it doesn't get out. But
Oh, but it would be so cute.
it is pretty cute. But yeah, so that's something I've always wanted to do. So dad started to teach me and it went from there.
So he had obviously been playing for quite a while. Did he used to actually travel to play music, or was it mainly in your town?
Yeah, just local, just local. Didn't really travel too much, just around the local area, which that's not a very big area when you're in a small town like West Wyalong, but always did shows in West Wyalong and around that area. Yeah.
So I'm guessing as you were growing up, you had a bit of music playing in the house. What was your dad's musical taste?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of music. I grew up on Matchbox 20, John Mayer, The Script, all that sort of music is still stuff that I listen to today. So that's definitely what I grew up on.
And well, you're still listening to that, but as you started to grow up and develop your musical taste, what were you listening to of your own choice?
Yeah, well, I've actually really enjoyed them. I've had the honor of seeing both The Script and Matchbox 20 live. It's only John Mayer out of that big three that I haven't seen. So I continued to listen to them, and then I stumbled across country music. Started listening to, about when Morgan Wallen released his first album, bit of Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, and found my way into that little niche genre of Americana folk country that I listen to now.
Right. So little 3 or 4 year old Braden playing guitar,
Yep.
wrapping his fingers around the frets,
Yep.
nylon strings, hopefully.
Yes, definitely.
When you were learning all of that as a kid, did you have a preference between singing and playing guitar?
No, there wasn't a guitar in front of me. If there wasn't a microphone in front of me, I did both and
Right.
started both at a young age. I've got a photo of my third birthday with a t-shirt and just me little undies on, and I got a little plug-in electric guitar with a little toy microphone, and I'm standing there all proud strumming the strings, and that was my third birthday. So always been a bit of both.
Okay, so no doubt you cannot remember a time before you were a musician.
Correct.
So, given that your dad started to teach you, I'm guessing at a certain stage you probably moved on to other teachers, did you?
Yeah, yeah. So I started getting lessons when I was in year five. We were living in Port Macquarie at the time when I started getting lessons. So I started getting some lessons there with guitar, and then we moved back to Mudgee. So I stopped guitar lessons then, but started singing lessons then. So I started singing lessons in Mudgee, and then just went from there and mostly self-taught for the last several years.
Okay. And when did you start writing songs?
I wrote my first song when I was in year seven, walking home from the bus. So
Okay.
about 12, 13 years old.
So was it obviously something popped into your head, but given that you were writing it walking home, were you just sort of singing something to yourself so you could
Yeah,
remember?
yeah, it just popped up in my head, and I had a phone or iPod or something at the time, and I quickly wrote it down in notes, got home and finished writing it then, picked up the guitar and took me a couple of weeks to figure it out, and then I figured it out and went from there. Really, I've been writing songs ever since.
Right. So when you wrote it, did you think, "Oh, this is pretty good. I like this." It was obviously unexpected because it just popped into your head.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was a massive fan of the song at the time. Yeah, I thought it was the best thing in the world.
No, but also just the whole idea of songwriting that it was
Oh,
something
yeah,
you hadn't
definitely.
planned. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just that creative flow when you start thinking about something and it goes from there and getting all these other ideas, being able to tell a story through your songs as well. And I thought that's something that I really like. So
Yeah.
stuck with it.
It's good that you were a massive fan of that very first song because most songwriters I talk to always say, "Oh, I could never go near the very first songs I wrote. I hate them. I never want to hear them again."
It's certainly not one that I'll be releasing, but
Oh, it was a good foundation.
it was good at the time.
Yeah, right. So, given that you were in high school at the time, I imagine that you chose music as a subject for your high school certificate.
Believe it or not, I actually didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I sort of steered away from music a little bit towards the end of my high school years for that selective, when you get to select your subjects. I steered away
mm,
from it and I was focusing on my sport and a lot of other things at the time.
okay.
It just wasn't something that I was as passionate about back then. But once I got out of school, I fell back in love with it and continued and decided that I want to get back into it.
I guess if you were playing sport, that does take a lot of time and therefore
Yes.
is very competitive with playing an instrument
Yes, definitely.
and with songwriting.
Yeah.
And in fact, like school just seems to be so jam packed these days. I don't know when kids have time to do anything.
Look, between school, work, sport, it was hard to fit music in at the time, and I thought I was on my way to playing for the Boomers, so
Oh, okay. All right. So you were very serious about your
I
sport.
was pretty serious about my basketball, yeah. Yeah.
So does that mean you were playing at a state level and beyond?
No, no. No, I didn't get the opportunity to play that high. I had a couple of injuries and then COVID came along and sort of shut everything down.
Okay.
So
Oh, I really don't like the term sliding doors moment, but it kind of seems appropriate in that, there's the
look,
impact of COVID on your
yeah,
sporting career. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And from that it made me pick up my guitar more. I couldn't go out and do anything, so may as well stick at home and write some songs and learn a couple more songs and just stuck with that now instead of my sport.
I do often think there are parallels between sport and any art form really in that sport teaches you that you just got to do a lot of practice before
Yeah,
you
definitely.
get to achieve something.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't train or you don't practice, you're not going to go anywhere with it and you're not going to improve. And that's something that I'm big on is always improving. So
Mhm.
definitely come from a sports background.
And you were playing a team sport, but you are a solo artist. However,
Yes.
there's obviously teams of people involved in putting a song out, including a producer. So, do you feel that that team environment also prepared you well? I guess I'm probably answering my own question. I imagine it did.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. You got to work with a bunch of different people. It's not always going to be the same people. You're gonna change teams, but you got to find what works for you. And when you find the team that works, you try to make it last as long as possible and stick with it and get something good out of it. So that definitely plays effect in terms of finding your producer and all that team that you want to work with as an artist.
Here's something that hasn't occurred to me before. If you're in a team sport like basketball, you have a coach who's
Yeah,
telling you everything to do. But as an independent musical artist, you're both the artist and the coach. So,
correct.
do you ever sometimes think, "Oh, gee, I wish I had a coach"?
Look, it definitely would be nice to have that second figure there, but that's why we got family, I suppose, and the team that I've got around me. I can always bounce ideas off of those people that I work with and decide what's best from there.
So after Mudgee, you moved to Griffith, and while you're in Griffith, you played some open mic nights. Had you done much of that before?
No, no, I really hadn't done much performing at all before I went and started doing open mic nights. I had a couple of like the talent school that I was in Mudgee. I had a couple of shows and a couple of performances.
Mhm.
So I did a couple of songs through that, but never putting myself out there to get up with the guitar, introduce myself, and show people my music.
Mhm.
So that's where that all started, just in the local pubs doing open mic nights.
Were you slightly terrified when you started?
A
Or did
little. I think everyone is when they first start, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, some people might think, oh, this is great. I finally got an audience.
Oh, yeah.
Look, a lot of artists start with covers. I think, well, everyone starts with covers.
Yeah,
So when
definitely.
you were doing those open mic nights, you were playing covers, I'm guessing, and which covers
Yes.
were they?
Yeah. So I started off with a lot of that was just when I started getting big into country. So I was learning a lot of Luke Combs. I was learning a lot of Cody Jinks, a couple of Tyler Childers, some Zach Bryan. That's where it all. That was my basis.
Hmm. And so as you progressed through those sorts of nice open mic nights, did they then lead to gigs that you were getting in the area?
Yeah, well, I wasn't in Griffith for too long of a time, so I didn't really get out to play too much local gigs there. As other musos are aware, it's not the cheapest thing to necessarily set yourself up to start doing gigs as well. So trying to manage all of that, I didn't really have that opportunity until I came up to Sydney, and I'm still setting myself up to do my own proper gigs.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that was the start of it, and that experience gave me the ability to go and do a few other things, a few small town festivals and.
Right, right, right. So was the move to Sydney specifically for music?
No, so I completed my high schooling up here. So moving back to Griffith was a bit of a gap year for me,
Okay.
just to reset. I didn't get into the uni that I wanted to do because it just wasn't going to be viable for me to get into. So I took a gap year, reset, thought, what am I going to do? I applied for a job back up here and I got that job. So I moved back up here
Okay.
and that's when I decided that I'll take music seriously to do something else.
I suppose also Sydney is a very large city, and the venues are scattered
Yeah.
far and wide, and to get your head around what's available must take quite a bit of research and work.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot more opportunity up here, but that also comes with a lot more competition. Not only just the competition, but the venues as well. There's so many more to try to find where you want to do, what you want to do, and how you want to do it.
Mhm.
It's bit of work.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've lived in this town all my life. I'm still getting my head around it. But, now, you released your first single, "She Ain't Good," earlier this year. Had you
Yeah.
been working up to that for a while?
Yeah, She Ain't You I wrote quite a while ago.
Oh, sorry. When
Uh,
I say "She Ain't Good," not
she
"She
ain't
Ain't
good.
You." Sorry, I don't know why I ended up writing that. Terrible. I'm
No, she
bad,
ain't.
bad.
No, you're fine. She ain't you. It was. I decided to release that song first over any of the other ones for the type of song that it is. I wanted something that'll come out you can have a dance to, something catchy to get stuck in your head. So it was about a year in the making before I hit the studio with that song. I wrote it before another big event that I had on. Really, I wrote half of it then, and then I left it for quite a while because I couldn't finish it. Went back to it about 6 months later and just finished the second half of it off that night,
Mhm,
and then started figuring the rest of it out. So it was definitely a work in progress for your first release.
mhm,
Found you got to work with obviously your producer. So I was trying to figure out who the right person is to do that with and how I want to do it.
mhm.
So big process, but it's set me up for the path that I'm on now.
So you weren't tempted to go to a co-writer to help finish it?
No, no, co-writing, it's something that I'm looking forward to and something that I really want to do, but not something that I've actually done yet or had the
Mhm,
opportunity to do. So everything that I've written and released is all me, and I think I pride myself on being able to sit down and really focus on a song myself and finish it.
mhm.
But I do look forward to the co-writes, definitely.
It does seem to be a feature of country music, the co-writing,
Yes,
in a very good way.
it
Yeah.
definitely is.
So your second single, "Honest," was produced by Alex Mather, who
Yeah,
also worked with Nathan Lamont, amongst others, and I
yes.
most recently spoke to Nathan about him. How did you first connect with Alex?
Look, actually came across Alex on social media. He's something that he's a wizard at. So, and then I did my research on him there, became a fan of his, and saw that he was a producer and doing all these other artists' work that I was also a fan of. So I thought he's the guy that I want to work with. So, Brittany, his partner, played a local festival here, and I thought I'll go there and I'll see her. I was a fan of hers as well, and he was there. So went up to him, introduced myself, shook his hand, and said, "Mate, I want to work. Let's figure it out." Clicked him a message and was in the studio a couple of weeks later.
Oh, that was well done.
Yeah,
And I suppose the beauty of social media is you know what he looks like. So if you see
that's
him in
it.
crowd, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So when did you write Honest?
I wrote Honest about 2 years ago. So I actually wrote Honest before She Ain't You.
Okay.
It was after a breakup. I'm sure we've all been through a breakup before, and you get those ideas. Like Taylor Swift writes all her albums off a breakup. So I thought, let's
Yes.
get in my Taylor Swift era. Let's write a breakup song. So that's exactly what I did. I started to write it down. I thought of a couple of lines and ran with it from there.
It's a really effective song, affecting song, an effective song. And your vocals really like emotional. It really pulls at the
Yeah.
heartstrings. when I was listening to us, I was thinking, did he do a few takes like to get that sound, or was it too much and you just did the one take? It was like, oh, that's it, I'm done.
Look, there was a couple of takes, but not too many. It was yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's obviously an emotional song, and it's a song that I carry close to my chest. So I find it rather easy to express the emotion and
Mhm.
to really project that song through your tone of your voice and everything when you feel it. So I'm not telling someone else's story, I'm telling my own.
Yeah. So when you play it live, do you reconnect to that feeling? Because I would imagine that's, you've got to get a certain amount of energy going to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with every song you sing, you got to be able to feel the story to tell the story. So when I play it live, you obviously you do. From the moment I strum that first chord, I'm in that zone. I could have just played a fast upbeat song before, but I know when it's time to calm it down and to focus on that softer side.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, if people listen to it, they'll probably get a bit teary, as I did.
Yeah,
And now one of the places that you would have played this song is the
yeah,
Beer Shed in Sydney, which is
yeah.
in Lanier, which is near Campbelltown. That's my favorite venue to go and see country music.
You and me
What do
both.
yeah, well then what do you like about it?
Look, the things that Jai and Molly do at the Beer Shed, supporting local artists, not just local, but Australian country artists. I could sit here and rattle off names of people, and you'll say you've seen them there yourself. Like, there's always live music on there, and that's something that I think is really big in this country at the moment. Is just supporting our young Aussie artists and established artists, and it's a tough time for the entertainment industry, and it always has been. So
Mhm.
to have a venue that consistently has live great country music on, especially in country music, it's a bit of a niche in our country. So
Yeah.
it's always good to go there and actually meet the artists and support a good venue.
Yeah, and it does facilitate that close connection with the artists. And one thing I really like about it is that even though it looks like a pub because it's a brewery,
Yeah,
the audience is a real listening audience. So no matter
correct.
which artist is on, you've played supports, I know. So support acts often get talked over the top of, not at the beer shed.
No, not at all. I was recently just did a couple of shows there myself, and it's always such an intimate crowd. They're tuned in to every word that you're saying. They want to hear your songs. They want to hear your stories, and they'll come up and have a chat to you afterwards and ask about your story and where you come from and what you're doing. And so it's a good venue with even better crowds.
And are you starting to get a sense now as an artist now that you're playing some shows, you're getting your own songs out of that relationship that you're going to have with an audience, or that you're already having with an audience, that it is like this continuum between you as the artist connecting, communicating with them?
Yeah, definitely. Like the more you do it, the more you feel and the more you understand. You know what triggers a crowd and you learn how to talk to and work the crowd and how to make them your own audience. Obviously they're not there to see me, they're there to see, one of the biggest artists in Australia and they get stuck with little old Brado before the show. But to take that from being, say another artist's crowd and make them yours for that half hour is certainly something that you pick up on by playing different venues and learning different crowds. So that's definitely something that I've picked up.
So which other venues have you been playing in?
Yeah, so I've played a few back down in Griffith now. So I've been traveling back to my local area and doing a lot more shows there. So I've played at a few local pubs down in West Wyalong, Toppy Pub, Ardlethan and Country Music Festival. I've played down there as well, and everywhere you go, you're getting all different crowds.
Yeah. That is quite a lot of variety. And country crowds do like to be entertained because usually
They
they've been
do.
working hard all day, if not all week, and then they
Yeah,
want to let off some steam.
definitely. There's a song in that.
I'll leave it to you to write, Brad. No, I would imagine you have plans for some more songs looking ahead. So, are you starting to think about how you shape all of this? Because you've had two songs out now. It's a brave new world of streaming. Well, it's not that new anymore, but streaming and getting your head around venues. Do you tend to plan, or are you just thinking you'll do it one song at a time?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely always planning ahead. I'm currently working. I know I've just released Honest, but I'm still currently working on my next single. No time off really. You gotta stay with the flow and keep it going. So working on getting my next single out at the moment, which will come out later in the year, hopefully.
Mhm.
And then it's about pathwaying from there. So just deciding what way I want to do the release, how I want to do it, and what steps I want to take to follow that path in future.
Mhm. So, apart from the occasional gig, I know you've played at very short notice. Do you let people know on social media where you're going to be playing?
Yeah, definitely. Whenever I've got gigs, it's all over my socials. So all you got to do is search my name on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you like to follow your favorite artists, and you can find me there.
Fantastic. Well, Honest is out now. It is a lovely song. As I said, it's a bit of a tearjerker, so be prepared, those of you who are listening to it. And Braydin, it's been great to chat to you. I'm sure I will see you at the
Yeah,
big.
definitely. I look forward to our next chat. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.